Hi guys, welcome back to the Post1960 podcast. We are on the third episode. My goodness, guys, let's get a round of applause, man. It's not easy to do 3 episodes, you know. But yeah,
Calm down.
I'm calm.
A round of applause for us, please. It's not easy.
One more time. All right, so today we are talking about the rise in Japa culture. Oh my goodness, how sensational is this topic and how perfectly timed is this topic? So we have an amazing set of guests that are on the show today, but first of all, let me introduce my main man.
Like Francois, as always.
As always. So before we get started, just want to remind you guys to follow us on Instagram at Post1960podcast. That's the same handle on Twitter, on all social media platforms, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Any takes?
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Japa, for some people, is trying to make a better life.
I have seen the benefits that can come from having dual citizenship.
If we're patriotic enough to leave, just don't forget home.
If you have the mindset that I want to Japa, you're either stupid or dumb. You need to choose one.
So I think with either side of this coin, we will find examples to Japa or not.
All right, so we're going to quickly get into it and introduce the people on the set before we dive into the topic. Let's start from this side for once.
Okay.
So you're going to tell us your name, what you do, and where we can find you on social media.
My name is Akimbo Ali. I'm a software engineer. I like to keep my social media private, but
Okay.
yeah, I'll just leave it like that.
There are babes looking at. Not babes. Not babes.
All right, cool, great. Let's move on.
Hey everyone, my name is Valerie Ehime. I'm in the tech space. I am a technical program manager. I also have a creative side. I'm a model as well. And you can find me on Instagram at Valerie_Ehime, and that's spelled EHIMHEN.
Fantastic.
Hi, everyone. My name is Abdullah Lawal. I'm a digital marketer. I also do photography on the side. And, you guys can find me on social media. Abdul_Lai. That's Instagram.
Perfect. Nice to meet you, Abdul. And lastly, but not least.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So my name is Eselgene Poco. I'm a chef, model, and the CEO of Ozio Chef Kitchen. So, yeah. And my Instagram handle is darkeyespoco. Darkeyes_Poco. Yeah. So,
Excellent. Lovely to meet you guys, man.
yeah.
So how's the energy in the room, first of all?
It's amazing.
More energy, please.
Because we're
More
super
energy.
excited to have you guys here, man. So it's up. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. So,
All right. So we're talking about the Japa culture, right? And there's a lot going on around this old Japa issue. Everyone, well, not everyone, I'm not speaking for everyone. Lots of people want in Japa, and we have loads to say otherwise. And the first question should be...
before we move to the first question, I want to say even the fact that you said it's an issue is part of the issue. Is Japa really an issue, or is it just something that's happening? Is it a trend? We want to try and understand it and just get a feel of, how everyone's perspective, everyone's life choices has brought them to their decision and their stance on the topic. So the first question is, we're just going to go around the table and figure out if you're for or against before we move forward. So let's start with you.
I'm against Japa. I'm I'm stretching that strongly because to my own perspective, I feel if you're Nigerian and you already have that mindset that you want to Japa, that's a problem. Just that mindset alone, to me, it's a problem. This is my opinion. I feel if you have the mindset that I want to Japa, you're either stupid or dumb. You need to choose one.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, energy. So, I love it. All right, let's move on. Go on.
I would say I'm in the middle, but if I had the opportunity, or if the opportunity came, I would Japa. I would leave. I would say so, yeah. Because, there's a reason why you want to leave Nigeria. It's not because, Nigeria doesn't have a lot of things, it can offer you. But the opportunities that you can get elsewhere is more. And I say that's a problem, that you can get that opportunity elsewhere than inside your own country.
Cool. So you're
I'm for. Yeah, let's just go For. I'm for.
Strongly for?
Strongly for.
Why are you looking at her and saying it?
Just so you know that. 'cause
Okay, no, wait, but it's not a debate, so it's fine.
That statement
Opinion.
wasn't stated directly to anybody. That's my own opinion. I just
No, of course.
exactly.
Yeah, it's a dangerous opinion, but yeah, we'll get back into that in a moment. All right, so
I am for Japa culture. I do think though it's not a black and white yes or no type of question. It's very complex and it's very like dependent on each person's experience and what they want to do with their life and the opportunities that they have before them. Would I leave again? I left when I was younger, not to my choice though. Like my parents said I should, they sent me over there. If I was young again, would I do it? Yes.
excellent. Okay.
Okay. So I'll establish some context. So before I give my answer, yes or no. So I think it's just a thing of perspective, right? At the end of the day, if you are jackparing, to not bring anything back or to just completely forget about your country, I'll say no. I wouldn't do that. But if you're going, to get opportunities, bring it back, and invest. And definitely, because that makes sense, I'm in Nigerian first. So, I feel the need to give back. So I'll do that. And also the context of Nigeria, right now, it just makes sense to leave, because everything is kind of stacked against you. So I'll say, bringing it to this Nigeria, I'll say leave makes sense. So I'll say, I'm for Japa.
And I think what we asked on the last episode was, since we have she does not want to leave, you're very fine here. You're leaving.
I left. I left.
You want to leave.
I'm out.
You're out. You're on the fence. Go and come back. And do you think, similar to your case, do you think, we asked on the last episode, do you think for your children with the situation, would you want to provide an option for your children? Like make them dual citizenship?
I would. I have seen the benefits that can come from having dual citizenship from my case, and I would want to expose my children to the world, Nigeria, the US, and wherever else, right? So I would give them that opportunity. I think being a Nigerian citizen is an amazing thing. I love my country. Like I would even come back and live here if I could. But there's also more than that, that more can come from being an American citizen or any other country as well. So I would definitely prioritize that opportunity for my kids.
That's it.
Okay. Speaking about dual citizenship
For your children.
For my children.
For your children.
Yes.
Do you think you want that for them?
Of course. Who doesn't want to travel the world? Speaking about our passport right now, Nigerian passport, the green passports, we don't really have good tell on other countries. We got shadow banned by some country, like right now, Dubai, they don't allow Nigerians into their country just because of some certain kind of issues. So why not? Dual citizenship, good, that's good. Dual citizen. Apart from that, I don't see any cause of, yeah.
I would definitely want my kids to have dual citizenship because, I've seen the benefits of it. And the opportunities it can lead to, having the chance to come back to your country anytime you want, come back, touch with your roots, get in touch with your family, people that you left, and then also go to America or UK or Canada, and then also being given that how would I put it, that opportunity. That opportunity, basically.
Okay.
What is Japa to you? What does it mean, first of all?
To me, Japa is being selfish and leaving your own country because you want a betterness for yourself. To me, that's Japa. And going and not coming back. Because I heard someone say, I want to Japa because I want to go and inquire and get more resources and come back to Nigeria and make sure I create job. I've never seen anybody that traveled, that Japa, and came back with resources or job opportunities. Or you guys, sorry, I don't want to. everybody that has left Nigeria, all they came back with was accent and liability. My uncle was in the US for like 15 years and now he's back and he's on my dad. And he's asking my dad for money, house rent. Sorry. Oh God.
No,
sorry.
No, just go.
All you guys come back with is accent and putting your loved ones on unnecessary pressure.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right.
Yes.
So we'll get into that. We'll make sure we're getting to those topics again. Yeah, let's go.
I mean, it depends on who you ask. Like Japa, for some people, is trying to make a better life, then coming back and using it to uplift their family, their loved one, whoever it is. But that Japa in the sense of going and not coming back, now that's a whole different set of people entirely. And me, I can't speak for them. But me, I can say that for me, to Japa, to go and come back, that's where I stand. And like she said that, I think you mentioned your uncle. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't want to say anything, but probably something happened over there that made him come back.
My uncle, that series of people have seen. Yeah. So I'm trying to make my uncle as an example.
So we're not diving into what she said. It's just your opinion, and we're moving around the table. Thanks for your opinion. All right.
Yeah. So I think Japa happens when people who have tried to thrive in Nigeria have failed at that. Like they were not able to thrive here. Like they went looking for opportunities, trying to work, provide for their family, etc., or chase a dream, and they were not able to here. Like they've worked hard to try to do it here, and it wasn't able to happen in Nigeria. And so they leave Nigeria to another country where the infrastructure is there, so that their hard work on top of that infrastructure can then like create something amazing. I think that's what Japa is. Now it can look different for people where some are gonna leave and stay there forever. Some leave and send resources back, or some leave and come back to help. I've seen all three of those examples.
Beautiful. All right.
Yeah, so I'll say, for me, I think Japa is, a more permanent, like living on a more permanent basis. And I won't classify going for school as Japa. I won't classify, traveling for medical, reasons as Japa. When you're leaving to start a new life somewhere, that's what I'll classify as Japa, in my opinion. And to why people, Japa, people have various reasons to leave. Money, health, and better lifestyle, So yeah, that's how I see it. Yeah.
So Valerie, you mentioned something about thriving here and you not being able to thrive as you're supposed to here. What do you how do you think someone who can thrive here go to a country where you know nothing about their currency, you know nothing about living there? How do you want to start? Where do you want to start?
So you're saying that people who have tried to, thrive in Nigeria weren't able to make it work, and then they go to, let's say, the US.
For instance, US.
Yeah.
How do you want to make it in the US?
I think people who are trying to thrive here, they, one, probably have the education, right? Two, they have the rigor and the discipline to work hard. And three, they have the ability to ask questions. So I think having those three things, I think if you have those three things, you can thrive in any other country. As long as you can get there, you'll be able to get whatever additional education that you need. You can ask questions. You can leverage your network, people that they know that have already jackpot. Or, find ways to get more information about how to make it work. What about the dollar do you need to learn? Besides, you have dollar, you can pay for something. Do you get what I mean? You can create a bank account, just like you can create a bank account in Nigeria. You can create a bank account in the US. So I don't think there's any unique information about the US is what I can speak to that could stop somebody from jackpotting if they want to. And
just to piggyback of what she said, when you're leaving, if you're leaving Nigeria to go to another country, most times, there are requirements. You're not just, you have to meet a certain standard. They're not just taking anybody, right? So you need to be at a certain degree or a certain, level to be able to get into these countries, right? And, also, getting information, you can find anything online. You can read, so it's not that hard, I mean, I guess that's you could say, it varies, but if getting the information is actually not difficult to get, but then not actually doing it might be a different thing, right?
And I think that's a key part of the infrastructure in a first world nation. It's kind of obvious how you can get set up and get started, as opposed to Nigeria, where it's really who you know. You have to have enough money to get. There's shortcuts everywhere, but I think there's a standard procedure in for the people that leave, and especially what you said. There is they take the best of us. So there's a visa there's a visa process. There are entry requirements. You have to be able to, you're not going to be a liability in another country. You won't be able to travel in the first place.
But mind you, remember there are illegal immigrants also.
But I don't think we're talking about illegal immigrants. But that is a part of the Japa ideology,
Yeah,
the crazy things that people do to leave.
I do want to also highlight that, you might get to this later, but one of the potential disadvantages of Jackmine is brain drain for Nigeria. So it's the people in these, the fields maybe doctors and engineers and all that are leaving the country, and then you're draining Nigeria off of these people that could actually make Nigeria better. So, but that's something we can deep dive into later.
Yeah, we spoke about that in the last episode as well.
Okay, so there's something I want to say. Okay, let's leave we as human don't limit ourselves to a certain kind of thing, to a certain kind of study we've studied. Like, I'm an engineer. Let's just say, for example, I'm an engineer. And then I go about just looking for engineering jobs that want to pay me millions. Why don't you think out of the box? Like you said, people try to strive. You want to strive. Well, have you tried thinking out of the box? Have you tried saying, okay, I know I'm a nurse, but in Nigeria, what can I contribute to actually make money and still help people? You said, okay, you strive in Nigeria and you go. It only takes somebody with short-sightedness to want to work 8 hours job out there. Because you won't tell me that in Nigeria you can work 3 hours and you're making millions, but out there you have to work 3 to 4 jobs. Yes.
Not everybody.
So I think you have a unique perspective, because we have to remember this is a third world nation, right? So your experience, we're going to get into that later. Okay. It's unique. She's someone who thrives in Nigeria. She feels like there's so many wealth creation methods that she can probably pass on to people. But for the majority of people, that's not the case. There's abject poverty here, and we can't forget that. The average person cannot work 3 hours and make millions in Nigeria.
But even in abject poverty, you don't have the luxury to dream and think about thinking outside of the box. Your immediate concerns are food for myself and my kids.
Absolutely.
A roof over my head and security or whatever. Do you get what I mean? You survival, exactly. You don't have
hierarchy of needs is different.
Exactly. You're not really thinking about, okay, well, let me get a creative job. I literally need to get a job today to feed my kids for tonight.
Yeah.
So I think there's also most of the population in Nigeria fall into that category. But
let's move from her point. So she said people are leaving. I think what she's trying to talk about is, if the best of us are leaving, and this is a valid argument, then what is left? Because the problem for people Jackpine is ultimately the system. And we're saying that the visa requirements only allow the best of us to leave. So what her point would probably be is, then who builds the foundation? Who creates the pillar? Where are all our doctors? Where are all our engineers if they're all leaving? So let's go around the table. Let's start from you. Is there a benefit, for us leaving? Obviously there is the benefit, but what is the disadvantage in these sectors?
I would say there are a lot of disadvantages for Nigeria, because we're losing our backbone, which is the doctors, the engineers, the IT, people who are in IT, people who could help grow the country. You get me? People who can help lift Nigeria, people who can help, see our leaderships. They're leaving Nigeria to go, for health reasons abroad, to go see doctors abroad, to get better opportunities abroad. You get me? So I'm thinking basically
But the question I want to ask, but do you guys know that the best neurosurgeon in the world is a Nigerian?
Where is he practicing?
Exactly, but
where
like you said,
pause. Let her finish. We can get to
can
that.
You calm down? You guys said they'll go get resources, knowledge, and come back. It's not back yet. He's not back to Nigeria. Why is he not here?
Okay, so do you know the best neurosurgeon? Do you know his name?
I don't know him.
Okay, but you know he's a Nigerian.
Yes.
Okay. Does everyone agree with that? Is that facts?
Yes,
we'll have to Google that later.
Please.
Yeah, but okay, so great. So where do you think that person learned? Did they learn to become the best neurosurgeon in Nigeria?
I don't know where he learned.
I think they learned abroad.
But if you say you're jackbarring as a Nigerian, you're not a selfish Nigerian. You're actually looking out for other people. You're going there to learn resources because according to what you guys are not being selfish, you guys want to go there, get more resources, learn and do this and do that and come back and create more job opportunities. See, if you make research, the best doctor, nurses, engineers, they're all Nigerians. Why are they not back creating job opportunities, trying to make Nigeria a better place?
Because they don't feel like they're worth it now. They don't feel like they'll be paid their worth. They don't feel like they'll be
No.
given
I
their
didn't
worth
say
in
paid.
Nigeria.
I didn't say paid for their worth. I said if we all as Nigerians are not being selfish, why are they not back?
Yeah, so we're going to get into that. There's very valid reasons. But yeah,
to be
back
honest,
the question. Yeah, go on.
it's healthy to be selfish sometimes.
Oh,
You have to be selfish sometimes to make sure that you and your family are good, right? You can't say that, I want to be an unselfish Nigerian, and then you're a doctor, you could be making, X amount of dollars in America, and then you want to say, okay, I'll come to Nigeria because I want to be unselfish and make 50K Naira.
Yeah.
Like, do you get what I mean? Like that's not very realistic for anybody who is educated enough to be a doctor.
Yeah.
So I think it is healthy in some circumstances to be selfish, to ensure that you and your family are good. And then when you have established something concrete, then you can set up your practice in Nigeria. You can do things, or you can, when your kids are educated, send your kids to Nigeria to work, but you already have that foundation of like wealth in the abroad.
But so, one second, please. Let's get to Akin.
Yeah. So not to pivot too much from the main, subtopic right here, but one thing you mentioned was you said, people that go, they don't come back.
Yeah.
I mean, even if we look at it, right, and you also speak to like us starting or people starting their own businesses. Not everybody can do that if we're being realistic.
If you claim you're smart enough or you're well educated enough, I think you should learn how to think smart enough to know how to think out of the box.
Yeah, but there are people that do that, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah, let's let him finish his point quickly. Yeah,
there are people that do that here in Nigeria. They still have a tough time doing it, but they do it regardless. It's not for everyone. Even the people that do it know it's not for everyone. So you can't just generalize and say every Nigerian should be trying to start a business.
And let's also remember that most businesses fail anyways.
I didn't say all Nigerians should start a business. Don't get me wrong. Please don't mix up my words. I said, if you've strived enough, like you said, the smart ones that have gotten jobs and they are striving in Nigeria, if you're smart enough and you're sure that So I feel if you've strived, because talking about strive, see, you're going to ready for failures. You can't just wake up and say, I want to go into this and you just expect it to happen within 5 years. No. It's going to happen.
I get your point where you're coming from. But here's the thing. There are lots of business that have started in this country. And one thing or the other has made this business a fold up.
Example is?
Power.
But also people need to eat. It might take you 5 years to create your business. In the meantime,
these are guys who have spent well enough time to research the industry they're coming to establish here in the country and put all of their savings that they have worked hard for in the abroad, brought it back here. I want to help my fellow Nigerians. I want to make Nigeria a better place. And then they come here, right? And then you have the government say, for instance, what happened when they had to ban Go-Kada and all of that. These ones are not even Nigerians. So we had bikes in Lagos just to ease traffic in Lagos. And next thing you hear, no more bikes in Lagos.
That's
so
it.
Your whole business model is gone.
Exactly.
I was
There are a lot
asking
of
a question to them downstairs. Okay, before we gain 1960, before we gain did you think the white men actually wanted to leave us alone? What did they see? What did they see in Africa? I'm sorry, let me just remove Nigeria. What did they see? They saw something that made them come over here. They're making us feel like we're shit, innit? Like everybody wants to just leave because we feel we're shit. It's in the mind, either ways. If you feel you're shit, you're shit. If you feel you can create this, you can create it. It's all in the mind.
Yeah. So I think her position is really important. I think more Nigerians need to have this position, but I think it needs to be articulated a bit differently. So for example, I don't think it's wrong to leave, but she said, where are these people coming back? There's actually evidence that we have stats, like, it's well-known facts about the amount of money that the diaspora sent to Nigeria, and we'll get into that. But I think it is a good a mindset to say, if we're patriotic enough to leave, just don't forget home. Because you clearly said there's two types of people. There's one person saying, I can't leave, I'm a doctor, my village will suffer. And there's another person that's like, my immediate family will suffer. So I think it's a really, really big discussion. And you can't generalize because people's needs are different. Do you get? Like, you might have a baby and you have to think, man, what do I do? Where's the best direction for my child? And nobody can fault you for that. But what do you guys think? Because we clearly are split. Do you think it's a problem for a Nigerian to think about his immediate family, or should we be all patriotic and think about the success of Nigeria?
I think in today's climate right now,
Everybody's being selfish.
that's it now. Everybody's selfish.
Yeah, come on
you
now,
have
like,
to
you
be
would have to
selfish.
think about
You have to
yourself
think
and
about
your
yourself.
What's the
Definitely.
average lifespan of an average Nigerian?
70.
Probably less than that.
Probably.
I'm
60
sure
to
it's less.
70 actually.
I'm very
It's
sure
actually
it's less than that.
because I heard somewhere, I think you were the one telling me or something about when you turn 30, you've actually reached half of your lifespan.
In Nigeria?
That's insane.
That's facts.
When you turn 30, like, just know 100 is, just count 100. 100 is not nothing.
That's a fact, but
Once you
that's a
turn
scary
30,
fact.
Like, you've reached half of your lifespan. So what the mindset young people should have now is, I'm in my 20s. Yes, you're in your 20s, have fun and everything, but also remember that you have to retire early because you turn 30. That's half of your life already gone.
That's
And
scary.
there's a reason why we have this conversation on Twitter and everything. Oh, every staff of a certain bank have Japa. That's why their service
The tech is
very,
down.
very bad and their account is being hacked. You can't continue to work in this industry, like work in this old system, and you go to work in the morning before 5. Lagos is up at 4 o'clock. There's traffic at 5 o'clock in Lagos. And you go home again in traffic, you get home at 10, 11, 12, and you repeat the same thing. And you don't want people to
What I
jump
tell
on.
people, what you believe is going to work for you. If you feel traveling, if I'm in this country now, if I'm in Nigeria, and my mind is set on, I need to leave this. I swear, if I don't leave, I'm never going to be successful in Nigeria. But if I say I'm going to be successful here in Nigeria and I'm going to create 500 job opportunities for Nigerians, it's going to happen. It's all in the mind. So you saying the government there, there's a whole lot of Nigerians that are rich in this country. They are in this country. They make tons of money,
Right.
more than those people out there.
Not to cut
Wait,
you
let
short.
her finish.
Go on.
No, don't worry.
All right, go on.
So to what you're saying, right? I agree. But then it's also in demand for someone to say, I'll leave this country. I believe that if I leave this country, I'll make XYZ amount of money and bring it back or stay and do
guys don't bring
and
it
still
back.
be successful. It's like you said, like it's their own perspective, right? So I'm just still saying, going back on the, not trying to generalize.
I'm not generalizing it.
Quick question, right?
You know what? I
You
would
have a
say
point.
that, like, everybody, like, every Nigerian needs to have her type of energy, but not everybody has that energy. A lot of people, it's looking like, okay, if I can't, like, I think you said earlier, they don't, if they can't thrive, then they'll be like, okay, let me leave. The next option, the next best option. Yeah.
So before we move on, let's just clear up her initial statement at the beginning about people coming to Nigeria and being liabilities. So statistics say that the Nigerian population in the diaspora remitted 60.22 billion in the last 3 years to boost economic activities and the nation's external reserves. This is data from the World Bank and the Budget Office of the Federation. The World Bank revealed that diaspora remittance into Nigeria were estimated at 23.81 billion in 2019, and it's 2023. Yeah, we don't have to get all the
Is that dollar or naira?
stats. So
Yeah,
like,
dollar and
there's
naira.
a whole.
Is that dollar and naira?
This is dollars.
Dollars.
Yeah,
See.
this is dollars. So wait, pause. Sorry, quick question. So like, just to clarify your point. So there's stats that say that we, as a country, thrive from the remittance that we get from the diaspora. There's a whole thing called diaspora money.
So that's a written word.
No, that's facts. That's
Wait.
facts.
No, it's exactly. So I want you to go out there, go to each company and look for how many applications and Nigerians that are jobless. You can't just come and just say, oh, we contributed 6 point something million and poverty in Nigeria is increasing every day.
No, but they're not the reason for the poverty. They're part
Nobody's
of the
saying-
solution. Let me explain something to you. In
Okay.
economics, right? Let's minus 60.22 billion from our external reserves. Do you think Nigeria, what do you think the dollar will drop
See,
to?
I think it'll
see.
crash.
What do you think
Even
the naira
now,
will drop
even
to?
now, we don't have anything.
That's
right?
not helping.
It's
I tell
helping.
you things. See, Nigeria has been fucked ever since we gained independence. So don't say it's now or it was then or it was 3 years ago. No, we've learned how to survive, and which all we need is living,
Which is a bad thing.
which is a bad
if you
thing.
ask me.
See, guess what?
Very, very
I'm
bad.
just against people living. I'm not saying Nigeria is a good country. Don't mix up my words.
Yeah, no. So
It's-
what I wanted to say is, from your point, I feel like personal experience made you say what you've said, but there's a wider scope, and the wider scope is the stats. So now that we've told you that, what's your opinion? Do you think there's a benefit for Nigerians going abroad? Because we're going to move into another question.
Do you know?
And bringing back
Guess what?
money to Nigeria.
If all of our smart people remain here in Nigeria, do you know who can make more than that they've given to you?
But you remember, this is a global. Anyway, let's
How?
not focus. We're in a
How?
global
That's what I
economy,
was
right?
about to
Guys, we're in a
ask.
global
How?
economy.
How?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're in a global economy, so let's move on. Let's move on. So the next question I wanted to ask you guys is: Do you wanna move?
No.
Okay. All right. In terms of, give me a second. In terms of like people leaving, do you think people are willing to take like a status drop, for a better life abroad? Do people care about, a drop in status? Because you make more money, essentially, because you have more purchasing power in pounds or whatever it is. But sometimes people earn, like, let's say £35,000 a year being a bus driver. And that is part of the diaspora money that they're remitting back to Nigeria. So do you feel, what's your takes on that? Would you leave if you're a CEO of a dying business, a silly company in Nigeria, would you go abroad for like a lower status?
And earn more.
And earn more?
Yeah, I think basically because of the better standard of living that you will get, not only from the company that you have in Nigeria, like, okay, it's a dying company. What should I do? What would be my next move? And I think to take a drop in status, but a better pay is a small price to pay.
But would you do that personally?
Would I do that personally?
Yeah.
I mean, if I had a company and it was dying, I would do everything to try and revive that company.
But I think at that point that you're there working as a bus driver, earning more, how would the business run here?
The business will run here. If I'm making more over there, the money that I'm making there, I can send it back. Have a manager, overseeing the business, trying to make it work out. Or do you think that would? It could work
for me. I think here's my take on it. I think it's not really about the money you pump into the business, because you can keep pumping money into the business
And it's going
year
down.
in, year out, and the major factor is the government, because you have this coming at you, and you're like, oh, don't worry, we'll put more dollars, we'll put more pounds. The economy is so weak, this would help it. And then you're like, in a year, you're spending millions on diesel
Exactly.
just to run your organization. And then you have maybe your neighbor saying, oh, this is not a business area, you need to move out, fighting your neighbors in court and all of that. And then you're still battling bad staffing. Like, they are all different factors. And then you have the government thinking of how to clamp down on the industry you're in now, because they think there are lots of young people in it.
You're
and
making
this
enough
might be-
money.
You're making enough money.
And hit
and
you
this
with
is like-
some nice tax.
which you're not even making enough money.
well,
So yeah, man.
The Japa, is it to Japa and go and bring that money to pump into that business, or to Japa to have a better life and re-strategize and say, okay, this is the way I think it's going to go if I am going to go back to Nigeria and start something better.
I think that's where your patriotic side comes in, because if you have that if you're patriotic, you would definitely want to bring money back, regardless if it's going to waste or not. That's what I would do. Because, I still feel like I owe Nigeria a bit of myself, because I was raised here. I love Nigeria. I do.
We all do.
I
We
do.
all do.
I do.
No, he wants to Japa to make it better.
But I have to
For
face.
yourself.
I have to face the reality of things. Of course, I'm a bit selfish. I'm not going to say I love Nigeria and I'm going to join the army or that kind of thing. But I do. And I'm being selfish by leaving to make money. But at the same time, I still know that at the end of the day, I would benefit from it, and Nigeria would also benefit from it. That's the plan.
Excellent.
Right?
Do you have a take on this, Patrick?
Yeah. So in addition to the facts you shared with us about the remittance that is sent back to Nigeria, there are also various examples of people who have jackpot and are doing things here to help. And in my case,
you have to let her finish her point.
and in my case, I think I'm one of those examples. Yes, I jackpot mostly because my parents sent me, but I'm glad I did. And I'm able to now. I have a nonprofit that is focused on building up young girls in STEM. So science, technology, engineering, and math. That's what I am personally doing
Can we give a round of applause?
give back, right? Because now I see my life is a testament to what's being in STEM can do for a young Black Nigerian woman and having the opportunities that I have abroad. And I want to make sure that the young girls here in Nigeria who may be in public schools where maybe math is insufficiently taught, are math and programming and things like that are being taught to them, and they have the knowledge actually, so that when they're older and they actually want to I want to be a programmer or whatever, they actually can. They have that base. So there are examples of people who are jackpotting and doing the things here to actually help out, communities in Nigeria.
Excellent. Any takes on that, or can we move to the next question?
Um,
Okay, great. So we've spoken about the negative side on the Nigerian economy, right? And everyone's leaving. Don't you guys feel like there's also a positive side? Do you know how many in terms of what we've suffered as Black people, racism? Isn't it nice sometimes to see the best of us go abroad and thrive abroad? And that's how you have the Michael B. Jordans. That's how those guys probably from. Those are the Americans. Those are different from the slave, but they're also outstanding Nigerians doing great things abroad, and it helps change the narrative of what a Nigerian is. And it's very inspiring to say that in this global economy, we can do great things anywhere we want to. Anywhere. So what's your take on that? Let's go with Akinya.
Yeah, I mean, it might not even be you. It might be someone from your line,
Yeah.
Second, third generation down.
Yeah.
That's doing these things, and, inspiring people. And that's how I started getting serious with my work and my career. I when I finished from school, I used to see people directly from Unilag go straight to Canada and start working for Microsoft. And I'm like, how are these people doing these things? What's going on? And that used to inspire me, because I'd go on LinkedIn, I'll check people's profile, I'll see, oh, you just finished your BSc in 2018, and 2018 still you start working at Microsoft in Canada. I'm like, yo, that's really good. And those things inspired me, and I started asking questions. I started looking for how and where, how I can get these opportunities. And, I guess that's added to me as an engineer today, because that made me more, ask more questions, made me look for things. Maybe if I'd gone down a different path, I don't know, but I'm happy with where I am, and I'm thankful that I came across these people and I came across this opportunity. So yeah, definitely, I think going, people that go, they do inspire, and inspire in different ways. Now there are companies here that you don't even have to leave. They're coming to Africa, they're setting up shop, and then you can work for these companies, and you don't have to leave if you're really that patriotic and you don't want to move.
Do you think you working for a Microsoft, for example, now here in Africa, do you think you're going to be paid as you will be paid if you work for Microsoft in Canada, for example?
Oh, definitely you won't get paid the same amount, because, most of these companies pay based on what the market value is giving. And that's just how capitalism works. But that's a different conversation for another day. Yeah.
Definitely.
Honestly, you asked, what did you ask again? What did you ask again? Let me know.
About seeing
Inspiration.
Yeah, inspiration. just seeing another Nigerian abroad doing well, whether it's in, athletics, in music, in any field, just
Like I
representing
said,
Nigeria.
See, honestly, Nigerians, we have like a very great mind. And if we limit ourselves to a particular kind of standard, trust me, that is where you get to in life. If you limit yourself working 5 to 6, 6 to 8 for a person, I swear you're going to be that person. But if you limit yourself to be a CEO for one of the great companies here or abroad, that is what you're going to be. So you saying Nigerians trying to limit yourself to the government, come on.
That wasn't the question though.
Oh, what was the question? Please, because sorry.
The question was like, how do we feel? And is there like a positive side of seeing like great? Okay, let me give you an analogy, right? So we're all Nigerians. You're patriotic. When you see Nigeria in the World Cup, do you want them to win?
Yes.
You do, great. Okay, so do you think how many people in the Nigerian national team play for local Nigerian teams? Do anyone know?
Probably close to 0.
Do we know? You're a football
I don't
guy.
have a number.
I don't have the stats myself.
A
but
couple, I would say they're not more than, that started.
like starting team.
No more than 3.
If
Great.
I had to guess, I'll say less than that. I would say less than
So
that.
with that point in itself, right, you have Nigerians that probably started here from a football academy or whatever, got the opportunity to, play for the Manchester United club or whatever club it is. And now with that skills, they're better and they're coming back and representing, on the Nigerian team and letting us compete at a global level. And I think that's great for Nigeria.
Yeah, but they only
So
got
that's
that
what I'm saying.
skill while they were there.
While they were there, because they have access to state-of-the-art technology. It's a no-brainer.
No, I just want to say,
But
talking about sports, like
that's sports.
is, no, hold on.
It's a great analogy, I
No,
think.
it's a great analogy because, for instance, you have Olympics coming. You have foreigners in America, in England, wherever they are. They're like, oh, we want to represent Nigeria at the Olympics. And then you have companies like Puma who will say, oh, we would like to sponsor your team's jersey or whatever it is, their sport gear at the Olympics. And you have these guys come, do the like the last, wasn't it at the last Olympics or so? And then this company gave the nation, these are the kits and everything. The athletes didn't get the kits. These are guys who volunteered. Like, look, I was raised here. I am from. They don't. The accent is not.
Why didn't they get the kits?
Because they're gatekeepers and everything.
So what, they were supposed to be Nigerian, or what's your point here? Like they're Nigerian?
Like these are guys who have decided to. I'm just trying to let you know that these are guys who have decided to come and say, look, I would raise my country's flag at the Olympics. I'll raise my country's flag wherever it is. But then the country is there because you have some greedy people up there who wants things for themselves. They don't make things work for these guys. So why do you think an average Nigerian will wake up one day and be like, you know what? I want to do this for my country. As opposed to, if I japa, I japa. If you are still here, please find a way to japa.
And that's it. No, and I totally understand what you're saying and where you're coming from.
Like, imagine your national team doing wash and wear for a track field event.
And you had people trying to come back to do exactly what you're saying. They were trying to help, coming back to, represent Nigeria. But now Nigeria is not giving them what they
Nigeria's
need.
not keeping to the word. Like,
So I think with either side of this coin, we will find examples to jackpot or not, or whether it works or not. But I think what it depends on is each person's actual experience and their own life and what they want to actually achieve. So I feel like you can't really generalize or just say that everybody who was doing one thing is that way. It's a really complex conversation.
Okay, so I always say, most of the successful Nigerians you see, they're not just stuck on one thing. They don't just focus on I want to do sport. They go into different because
Sorry. Let her finish the point, please.
They go into different things because our government doesn't support you going into just one thing. So you think you actually try to do different things, go into different ask like you say, if you ask questions.
So I sorry to cut you off. I do agree that being multifaceted is great. I'm a proponent for that. Please do as many different things as you want, but it's a luxury to do multiple things, because first you need to have stability to pay your bills and feed your kids and yourself. So the first point is I have
But
a
you don't have
good
a
job
kid,
to
like-
actually why to feed myself. Do you get what I mean? I put clothes on my body and
Can
pay
you
my
talk about
rent.
training? How the hell are you going to get skill
And
in the
to
first
do
place?
the other thing that you want to do. So I think I get you. Like, I'm a proponent for being multifaceted. I get it. But like, you need to have that first thing. Okay, I have food to eat. I have, stable income coming in. I'm okay. Now let me go and think outside of the box, or let me go and, do my creative side and things like that. So I like the stance of doing various things. Absolutely. But, we have to also think about it in a very practical way as well.
Yeah.
And just to point that we're all speaking from a privileged position.
100.
It's not okay. When people
But wait,
feel
but just
That's
just
very important.
So we don't veer too much. Just going back to the sports analogy you gave, So on the flip side, it's good that people go travel, gain those skills, come back, play for your country. On the flip side, we actually lose talent that way. I saw something on Twitter that showed the actual Nigerian squad if everyone actually came back to play, and they looked really nice. Like, we had players that are playing at very high levels and doing very well, like best in the league, but they play for England, for example.
But if they stayed,
if you feel you're in
would
Nigeria,
they-
you have skill, you can play football. Apart from playing on the pitch, is there no football business?
Wait, hold on. Let me just finish this point.
Why don't you go into the business?
let me
No,
just
that's a
We'll
good
get-
point.
we'll get-
We'll get
Go into
into
the
that.
business.
We'll get into that, but let me
We'll
just
get
finish
into
it. Let me just finish this point, right? But so there's the flip side where we lose talent that way.
So they're playing for England, not English teams. Is that your point?
No, they're playing for the England national team.
Okay.
Yeah, so we lose talent, because people Japa,
See,
of course.
you
But wait, let
lose
me
your talent, but
Can I finish?
You can recognize talent. So why don't you just?
Let me finish, please. Thank you. But what's happening with that is, you see some of these talent we lose is based on the third generation. So I think the issue is after Nigerians Japa, they don't really, if they choose to stay, they let their kids blend into the society, and then there's no need for them to come back. And they believe that they are now citizens. I mean, of course they are citizens, but then they don't owe anything to Nigeria, or they don't owe anything to the country. I think that's the bad part, and that's the part that actually needs to change. That's the one I'm strongly against.
I
feel
question,
like
though,
that
for
one
you.
should change.
I have a question, because you said based off of the sport analogy, if the players that you said stayed, would they have been able to cultivate their talent to the level that they are now if they stayed in Nigeria?
I don't think so. I agree, but I'm just saying, going further than that, when they travel, they should be due diligence to say, okay, I'm giving back to kids, that are going to be playing football or, down the line, but they still need to understand that they're Nigerian. They still need to understand what it means to be Nigerian. I don't want us to
So I have a
lose that.
question for Poco. So, for example, we can't deny that America and first world countries, they basically run the world. So is your plight that you want Nigerians to build an infrastructure to compete against countries like that? Or we should just join the force and, because for example, there's another side of the conversation that might help your point as well, which is that Black people abroad are statistically not thriving. I mean, white people we're third-class citizens. That's what people say. Do you guys agree with that, first of all? Do you feel like we're
100%.
third-class
I would
citizens
say,
abroad?
I would say
100%.
Black Americans.
What's your take on that? Do you
Black
think we're third-class
Americans,
citizens abroad,
but
Valerie?
I would say Black Americans, but I think they look at Nigerians American, Nigerians over there better than Black Americans.
Well,
But that's the view that they have over
So
there.
yeah, in the US, people do look at what are they not? What do you mean?
Better than us.
Who?
No.
how are they perceived?
Nigerians
Say
are
they perceive us lower than them.
No. Nigerians
Yeah.
seem better than the Black Americans there.
Is that
Oh,
fact?
yes,
I mean,
we are.
that's
So in the US, based on my experience, most white folks do perceive Nigerian Americans to be more educated and doing better with themselves than your Black American, who's a lineage of slavery and all that. So yes, that's the perception of people. And there are various stats that I've seen. I don't have any with me right now, but one of the most educated ethnic group in America are Nigerians.
Yeah.
So we're doing well when we're abroad. Yeah.
there's this saying that they say that there's no place you can go on earth where you
You
won't
won't
find
find
a
a Nigerian.
Nigerian,
Yeah.
definitely.
Do you have a point with that? Anything to say?
Sorry, I got lost in the
I think
conversation.
all of this again boils down to the industry also, because there's some industries that are doing very well here. Like, no matter what you do in that industry, be the least person in the level of hierarchy. At least you do something.
What industry?
So
Thank you. What industry?
Entertainment industry.
like
Different
like
industry.
Nollywood.
What?
Nollywood.
Not maybe the film. Yes, I really don't know much about the film industry. Well, the music industry, which is like one of the best exports for Nigerians now.
And that's just recent now. That's just of recent. I think
Yeah, that's just of
Afro
recent.
pop.
But it's
Thanks to
it's
Burna
been-
Boy.
It's been like it's
Thanks
been
to
a
everybody.
walk- it's been
Shout
a
out
walk
Burna
in
Boy.
Shout out
motion.
Burna Boy though.
Put it on the map.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to
It's a walk in
say.
motion, actually, it's
Yeah.
not just something that started now.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say though is like I'm always pleasantly surprised at how like educated and smart Nigerians here are. Like you can find a Nigerian doing so many different things like here in Nigeria, but the reason why they may not be doing well in it, like making a lot of money and being successful in it, is like the lack of that infrastructure to actually help it. Like, you know, no lights. So like so places where there's no like NEPA or light, you know, without part of their profit is now going back to buying generator and fuel constantly. So like it's eating into your profit. Or maybe the roads are bad. Now you're spending like 2 hours on the road instead of 30 minutes. So there are these little things that honestly, like it's really the foundation for like people to thrive, so that their hard work on top of that foundation will thrive. So I really think that like, I'm always, like I said, I'm impressed that Nigerians are doing well here. And there's so much potential in Nigeria. You know, Nigerians are very smart people, but like it breaks my heart that these infrastructures and these like foundational things for a generation to thrive are not there. And it appears that like the government isn't really trying to make that better.
That goes back to Japa culture. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, the government
I mean,
is making it better.
A good thing is though, like even to piggyback on your point, like you might not even understand how like connected things are, but like you're saying, okay, Nigerians should be in Nigeria and thrive and stay here and, you know, hustle, and that's great. But we have to understand that. Let's look at our best import, as he said, which is music.
So, like you said,
And wait, just head this out. So the reason why music is doing well globally, like, and our artists are being paid, because we've always respected Nigerian artists home. We've always carried our culture at home. We've jammed it, you get me? The reason why it's being global sounds and we're getting nominated is because of the diaspora culture abroad.
Oh my God,
that are
yes.
supporting these people. Like the way it works, right, is the Nigerian view, right? Because our purchasing power is a lot lower on YouTube and all of these platforms, is a lot less. You get paid less per view because we can't buy. When we watch an ad, we can't purchase. But basically, we are like the Nigerians abroad are really creating the success.
And
for
But the truth is,
most
the truth is,
industries.
that's a set
if-
of people trying to
but the
tarnish
truth-
the image
no,
of the
the-
industry just
but there's
for their
something-
own greed.
there's something you guys are mixing up. If this set of Nigerians weren't good at this particular act, if they were not good at it, they're not going to recognize us.
Sorry.
It still
but
boils
you're-
down
No.
to...
Sorry. Let me
Okay.
break it down for you.
Okay, break it down.
Once upon a time, back in the 90s, there's no club in Nigeria. I was not old. I've not been going to club. I'm not that old, please. But it is something I've experienced since I was a kid.
In a club?
Not the club.
I don't understand.
I'm not finished now. Not leave the club part. Growing up, listening to radio, you wouldn't hear a Naija song on radio because they don't play it. All I heard growing up was
Hip-hop.
Tupac,
Rap
hip-hop,
music.
Yeah.
rap, mostly rap actually.
Yeah.
Back then in the 90s,
Okay.
you listen to rap, you listen to all of the jazz, foreign music from America. And you have only few guys the few Nigerians are on the indigenous stations here. The likes of Ebenezer Obey, Fela, and all of that. Those are just the only few guys you listen to. Meanwhile, you had likes of Daddy Shoki, Plantation Boys, who were working hard back then. And move it down, it got to a point.
Now we have social media.
No, not even. Way
It's
before.
helped.
No, this whole thing started way before social media. Moving down, it got to a point where they were like, you know what? The old broadcast media thing was like, you know what? Play this % of Naija song and cut down on your foreign song. And we had stations who
Was that
even
like
helped.
a law passed? Like something?
No, that was like we had stations who helped on that. And it was more Naija song, playing more Naija song. Gradually, it was now a thing like move down to
That's
mid 2000.
why I said social media helped with the whole. It's also because the diaspora actually helped us. Social media helped us to like stream our song like worldwide. They recognized talent, real raw talent. That's why they didn't help us in any way. This was raw talent. This was talent.
Let her finish the rant. Go on.
This was talent that they recognized it, and because social media helped it. It wasn't as if it was because of the diaspora. No.
But it's not
social media helped
okay, let me just
us.
end my points this way. Let me just end my points
Yep.
this way. I think I need you to go watch. There are loads of documentary about 3 people have done. Showmax did, Ayoshonaya did, and I think Bankoli's on is coming soon. If you can watch on Netflix Ayoshonaya's documentary of the Afrobeats journey,
Really
just go
good.
and watch it.
Really good doc.
It has nothing to do with social media. It has nothing to do with the government. It has to do with the young ones here who thought that, look, this is what we want for ourselves. And we're going to put ourselves on the map. Once upon a time, watching Kenny Ogungbe
I love that word.
Kenny and Dio D1 go to Grammys. We don't know if they got into the auditorium to watch the award, but when we see them stay at one side of the carpet at the Grammys, we're like, oh yes, we're there at the Grammys. Like, no stuff like that.
They
These
push
are the guys
the
who put
representation.
the
But just to be clear,
representation.
what was the engine? What conveyed it? You know, was it so? You're saying it's not social media. So what was it?
It was not social media. It was.
Was it us?
It was them.
People were
trying
actually
to-
moving.
They
Leaving the
were
country.
moving. They
Yeah.
were trying to put Nigeria on the map.
But it was
No.
but it was also
You need to watch that doc.
Yeah.
Trying to put Nigeria on the map
Yes.
everywhere they could go. For instance, National Carnival in London.
But it was also the Nigerians that were already in the diaspora that liked the music. That was them
So you
making
mean
their
you-
money. Yeah.
So it's a
You
combination
mean
of
that
both.
they
Let's
chose
talk one at a time, please,
us?
guys. One at a time.
Japa
They
to
didn't-
make
One at a
it
time,
better
please. One at a
for
time. One at a
people.
time.
Yeah.
Burna Boy, basically, he wasn't able to reach the heights he has reached now until his music broke the international market.
And let me ask you, what song broke into the international market first?
What song?
Yeah.
I think it's Ye.
Why did Ye break?
It was mistaken. I think it was mistaken for a Kanye West song.
Kanye West was
Through
mistaken
what
for-
platform?
Wait.
Through
No,
what
calm
platform?
Calm down.
You can say it's
Ye
because
was
of the
mistaken for
diaspora again.
Kanye's name when he changed his name from Kanye to Ye. And when people were searching for Ye on Odd's platform, Burna's Ye was popping.
All platform. What
think
did you
we're
say?
going down the
All
rabbit hole here.
Platform.
Yeah, we're definitely
That's
going
what I just
down.
want to know. All
We're going down
platform.
the
You see,
rabbit hole.
it comes back to the
Wait,
social media platform.
like
So
one at a time. Let her
bottom
just
line-
finish the rant if she has to.
Okay,
Yeah.
finish.
Go on. You were
who's to
saying.
finish? Yeah, like everything you're still saying, it still boils down to the part that it wasn't people in diaspora, that it was now there's social media, there's Spotify, there's YouTube.
But who is listening to the song on social? Like the social media you're talking about?
Wait,
Who is
no.
listening to the Nigerian songs? It's not Nigerians, like Africans who like Afrobeats abroad.
Exactly. That's what I'm still saying. Okay, why would you not say it's because they made it? If I hear good music,
But if you put it on
well,
social
if I
media,
hear
nobody
good music on
listens.
social media, you will.
Okay.
You will say because of the diaspora or people abroad. That's what made my
No,
music.
no,
It's people
no,
abroad.
no.
I created a good sound. You like
Let's
it.
not move from Japa to Afrobeat.
Yeah, no.
Afrobeat has been around for.
It's a rabbit hole. It definitely is a rabbit hole.
It's been what's called? It's been.
But look, let me make it simpler, right? Let me make it simpler, right? So there are fantastic Chinese restaurants in Nigeria, right? But who are the first target audience for a Chinese restaurant? It's Chinese people.
Yeah, living in
Okay,
Nigeria.
whether it is in Nigeria, whether it's in Scotland, whether it's in New York, it's Chinese people first of all. Do you get me? It's the same with Nigerian products that are consumed abroad. Your first target audience, even for this podcast abroad, we're looking at Nigerians that study abroad that want to watch content like this. So that's what they're trying to say. So if we do well abroad, it's because we were first backed by our own people. And there's power in us coming together and supporting each other. So that's what they're trying to say. Do you understand it now?
Of course, I understand it. Like you said, there is power in coming together. Just imagine 5 great minds, Jack Barron from Lagos, from Nigeria to abroad, just because you're looking for a greener pasture. Just imagine 5 brilliant.
But how far would they be able? How far would they
Wait,
be able
let
to
her
go?
finish the
Okay,
point.
wait,
Let her finish the point.
You guys
5 brilliant
always,
man.
and
No,
I'm
no,
very
no,
forgetful.
sorry,
You guys
sorry.
are always.
Sorry about that.
Just imagine 5 great minds living Nigeria and saying, "Oh, I want a greener pastures. I want to make money. I want to work so I can see what I'm paying for. Tax payment. I want." But just imagine 10 great minds in Nigeria, coming together, thinking out of the box, working together, and trying to create job opportunities.
That happens. You're saying it like it doesn't happen. That already happens. We already have that. Like, it's nothing
but
new.
Japa-
It all boils down to the government, the structure. Because imagine those 5 great minds that decide not to leave Nigeria because they are patriotic. Sister me, their mind will die with them. Yeah.
The one thing
Will perish
Really?
with
So the
them,
billionaires
yeah.
that we have in Nigeria, they are what?
Okay,
Yeah, outliers.
let's just say that you have those 5 great minds. 3 Japa, 3 leave, and 2 stay. The 3 that left are going to surpass the 2 that stayed.
Of course.
yeah.
And it's so interesting. It's so interesting about like purchasing power. Like I don't like being patriotic is cool, but shit hits the fan when you have a brother that's in Nigeria, you have 2 other siblings that are abroad, and you all link up on holiday, and everybody's money is different simply because you're
different.
earning a different currency.
I just want to say one thing.
So
You guys should
different.
mark this face. 10 years down the line, you guys are going to, for sure.
Amen. And I wish it. I wish it. Amen.
So those people that Japa will come back and say,
And
please.
there's something you've even been
No.
mentioning since.
So-
Controlling 500 workers. Yes, you would have your 500
Of course
workers.
I
and you
would.
pay
Yes, I
them
would.
well.
Yes, I
No,
would.
wish it
Amen,
more.
oh.
Yes, yeah, I
Amen.
would.
Well, one thing I do want to kind of highlight is I've heard, a few folks say that people who japa are not patriotic. I don't think that's fair. Because I don't think it's fair at all, because like with my own definition of what japa is, people who have like tried all their best to make it work here and it couldn't, and now they're going to find greener pastures. There are those who japa and still give back. There are those who japa who and come back. They're still patriotic, but they don't want to die before they can now actually like have money to actually like live their life. So I think I've heard that phrase being used a few times, and I just wanted to touch on that.
Okay, great. So we're gonna wrap up in just a moment, but let's take a quick break, and we'll be back in 5 minutes.
All right, so the Post1960 podcast. Remember to follow us on all socials. Post1960 podcast across all socials. Yes, subscribe, like, and share. And don't forget, if you have any take on what we've discussed so far, drop your suggestions, your comments in the comment section below. And great take so far. Fantastic. Fire energy from you. Fire energy from you. Fire energy from you.
No, it's been fire all round, man. And I feel like I've learned a lot, man. Like it's a really deep conversation. There's so many rabbit holes we went down, and we had to pull ourselves back out from it. But I think in closing, I think there's a marriage, some sort of synergy between every single point that we've made. Everyone's pro-Nigerian. We definitely commend the Nigerians and Africans abroad representing us in different fields, and I feel like it benefits. We've discussed the diaspora money and how, frankly, I think our economy might crash if we just pull it out. If everybody leaves, it's not going to be to our benefit. But in closing, what would you say you've learned from this conversation, and what's your final take? Has anything changed? Do you feel differently about?
Yes, I feel different because honestly, now I feel I need to be more selfish.
Okay.
I think that's what I've learned so far from this conversation, because America wasn't America just because America is 200 and something years old. Everybody stayed and fought to become what they have, because they looked at the future. They didn't look at what they wanted to get at that. We're just 60 something, right? Nigeria. So if nobody's ready to sacrifice some certain kind of years or days or their self itself, I don't feel Nigeria is going to be. But yeah, what I learned so far from this conversation is me being more selfish. I think I should look at just me being very successful than trying to create more job opportunities. And then maybe I can consider Japa according to my fellow.
I know we're closing, right? But I just feel like there's a point she made that I just want to open up to the table really quickly for our last question. She mentioned that people in America stayed and somehow now they have advancement. But is that really what happened in history? Obviously, know that the infrastructure for Americans were built by Africans.
Another
so
rabbit hole.
It's another rabbit hole. But are we no, but moving forward.
Let me just pull you out of it.
No. You haven't heard the question. You haven't heard the question. No, you haven't heard the question. You haven't heard the question.
Okay.
So in 2022, we can take a step back and say, okay, all right, now we're in a global economy. We need people to represent us well over abroad. But is there an argument that can be made that if everybody came back, if everybody stayed and built the infrastructure that's lacking now, that maybe in 20 years' time, we'll find something better? Is that a good topic?
It's going to be better.
Wait,
Just open
who
floor.
has anything to say? Oh, should I?
Go on.
Go on.
Way before 2022, we had, or we still have people who have come in and people who are still coming in to fill the void they think is a void just to make things better for fellow Nigerians. And this void can't be filled because we have certain people in power who think of themselves alone and will never make these things work. So the question should be asked after election.
But you're saying certain people, but we right here, you guys are thinking of yourselves. It should be generalized on Nigerians itself, not that certain people out or up there thinking to their own selfish demands.
Pause. Yeah.
Because you're the one in power.
Just let her finish the rant
but
and then you can
honestly,
continue.
Don't just put it on them. It's all of us in general. So
Yes.
Cool. All right. So finish your point now. Finish your
Change
point.
that from you
Let
and
me
I.
finish this point.
Yes, change that from you and I. But at the same time, those in power should do right and do better. Up until now, Abacha's loot is still coming in billions and trillions.
Is that really an answer to the question? I said, what if people now should we now focus on coming back and building infrastructure, or are we already doing that by being a part of a global village? Let's hear your opinion on that.
So, just to go off what you're saying and not to stick to them, I'll still definitely answer your question. I think we need to restructure how we view things, right? The people that are in power, they're not on top. They're supposed to be serving us. They're supposed to be below. They're the foundations. So they need to be strong enough. They need to provide us things because we are on top of them because they serve us.
Yep.
You're president to serve Nigerians, right? You are not our leader or our master. No, you are serving us, right? So they need to put things in place for us. They need to set that foundation for us.
Yep.
So going back to what you asked, right? If that foundation isn't there, we're pumping money or we're building infrastructure on nothing because it's going to go. And that's what has been happening, right? The tech space in Nigeria is doing super well. In the startup space, it's doing so good, right? But, Nigerians, the people that are meant to serve us, they come up with ideas or things to drag us back. Every single time, the CBN will wake up one morning and set some law that puts, people out of business, puts fintechs out of business. We don't want that, right? So it goes back to the people that we've put in place to serve us to actually do their job first. I think that's where we need to start. And from there, things will kick off. We can now say, okay, if we stay and if we push, things will start making sense. Yeah.
Okay. So we've touched that. So because we're closing, let's go back to you about what you've learned and any takeaways from the conversation.
I've learned to be more, patriotic towards my country. Not just have that mindset of Japa, just the first opportunity, because there is hope and there's a lot of things in Nigeria. So I would say that it really changed my mindset on the whole Japa culture.
Fantastic. Valerie?
Yeah, I think this has been a great conversation. A lot of different perspectives. So I appreciate all of them. I think for me, I just would, if this conversation further highlighted the need to ensure that there are global opportunities for us Nigerians here. Like, there are a lot of Nigerians who go to school and do well in school and then they come out, there's no job. So now that, COVID has happened and we're now in a very remote virtual world, we need to ensure that Nigerians who are in all these careers, like tech, for example, that can thrive remotely, have those opportunities globally and are not just searching for tech jobs in Nigeria. There are tech jobs all around the world, and Nigerians are definitely smart enough, and sometimes even smarter, to compete with other applicants applying for these remote global tech opportunities. So I just want to, just highlight that we can look outside of Nigeria for remote jobs as well, and that'll help our youth, get some good jobs. So yeah.
And does that piggyback on like what you were talking about the STEM opportunities that you said something earlier about how you wish that sort of thing could be improved in Nigeria. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like, in my experience, like when I went to college and I started learning computer science, there were some concept that I had never learned before. Meanwhile, my, counterparts in school knew it, and because they took those classes when they were in high school, secondary school and things like that. And that wasn't provided to me when I was in secondary school here. So I think that, STEM education in Nigeria needs to be like improved so that when our, students, if they do choose to pursue any STEM field, they have the background knowledge to succeed in it, instead of like, Americans, for example, starting from here, with like programming knowledge or STEM knowledge. Nigerians are here because like, we're still coming up and then we all have to get here together. Do you get what I mean? So I feel like the first step is to ensure that the education is up to par. And then secondly, like I said, we need to ensure that, those who have gone the journey to get the STEM degree, they are exposed to global tech or global opportunities that are remote and not just focusing on jobs in Nigeria.
Excellent.
Very great.
All right, Akin.
Yeah, I think, one thing I've learned, especially thanks to you, SA, Japa is now is seen as like a catchphrase. It seems like something that's in vogue. People are just jumping on it. It's the next thing, to leave, without a plan, right? Nigerians are just going on that wave. Not everyone is supposed to. If you don't have a plan, I don't think you should. It doesn't make any sense that you don't have a plan. You're just looking to get out. It makes no sense. I think we should look at other, people. With all due respect, I'm going to say like India, for example. A lot of them leave. But then you'd still see that there's something common. With them, they still want to come back to India. I've worked with Indians. They really, really love their country. They still want to come back. They still preserve their culture even when they're there. You still see them marrying within themselves and so on. So I feel like even if we're looking to people are looking to move, it would be good to have these things in place. Have plans, have a mindset of togetherness still. Because one thing is Nigerians go, and truthful, they tend to just forget. Which sometimes is not the best. Even your generations going down the line should also remember where they're from.
Fantastic. Great.
Abdul, Nathan?
No, he gave his point already. Awesome.
All right. Great point so far. My own is... I think I should ask you now.
No, it's in clockwise. You can go and I can wrap up.
What you learned, right? That's the question. Or is it...
Yeah, just final takes.
My final take is, it said come together as one, but at the same time, it is, if you have the opportunity to go, please take the opportunity. And if you think, if also you have the opportunity to send your children abroad or have your kids there to make them citizens by birth, I think that's one of the best gifts you can give your child now with the way everything is going on now in the country. But at the same time, remember that at the end of it all, home will always be home, and you can always come back home and work things and make Nigeria a better place.
Awesome, man. Yeah, so I think I've learned a lot from everyone and so many great points. I think I've already mentioned most of my points. Don't have too much to say now, but it's just the knowledge that no one person is having the same experience. So if someone's need to go abroad for whatever reason, chase an opportunity, I think it's personal to them, and we can't expect people to choose Nigeria and patriotism over their immediate family if they see an opportunity that can better themselves, because we don't know that story. We don't know that experience. So I respect everyone's opinion, and it's been great having this show. Oh my God, episode 3 is over. We did it. Thank you guys so much.
Salute.
And again, let me advise, if you're a Nigerian out there, you're listening to me, learn how to think out of the box. Stop trying to be like a particular set of people. See, we Nigerians were blessed so much that we don't even know how to utilize the brains God have given to us. Learn how to utilize yourself. We're kings and queens.
Amen.
Yeah, so utilize it. Stop trying to become then you like the UK, try and utilize your brains instead.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all.
All right, my people. So controversial, but you know what to do already. You already know what to do. Hit us in the comment section. Let's know how you feel. Let's talk about it. Let's subscribe. Let's get this channel active. Let's mess up the algorithm and let them know what Post1960 has to say. Oh yeah, we're dabbing. But yeah, thank you so much. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Love.
Bye bye.